Well, a sling.
One, then size might be a factor.
Do you know what this feels like? And if you're a boxing fan, you can just look it up on YouTube. Feels like a little like UFC 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we have this boxer versus this guy.
He's got one glove on.
One glove.
Yeah, he's got the. Maybe he'll come in there Art Jimerson style. You know what
Why
I mean?
is
Like,
Keith Hackney punching that guy in the groin? Come on.
but don't you feel like it's like I don't know how else to explain the weirdness in sports without using that as the analog.
100%.
You really can't compare this. There's very little comparison on there. We know that Floyd is so damn calculated. He sees the future. He's got more foils, you know, the potential of Jake, whatever. Do you think Conor is his next big one that he might chase? We asked him about that on the other day at the press conference, and he said, you know, easy.
For Floyd?
Yeah. Is it
100%? Yeah, I think that's just a matter of time happening.
You think so?
I really do.
It would. Does it? To what extent does it matter whether Conor wins or loses against
Doesn't
Dustin
matter.
Poirier?
It's kind of like that Nate Diaz trilogy fight. That thing's always going to be there. We're going to get that. You can get Conor versus Floyd again, I would assume.
I'd have to think a loss to Dustin Poirier on July 10th, and their trilogy brings Conor closer to this full.
I also think you're going to get a Conor Jake Paul.
You think that's what it's building towards?
Mm-hmm.
That might be the.
What do you think about that?
That might be the biggest. I mean, it's hard to say that because Floyd's not in that conversation. Floyd brings bigger numbers than anyone, but that might be the biggest fight you can make in this realm of boxing.
I think
right?
I think Jake Paul Conor beats Floyd versus Conor pay-per-view. Woodley,
Yeah.
then they give him another big guy, starches him, and then Conor comes over.
These are a lot of ifs.
I'm not really.
A little bit.
2 fights.
Yeah, but he's got to do certain things in a very particular kind of way.
It is fun to map out the future pro wrestling style. It's very fun.
I know.
It's very fun.
The pro wrestling, it just kills me.
That's the world we're in.
Very quickly, one more time. You did also interview Chad Johnson up
Yes.
there. Now, we have seen him all week. To me, he's looked, I don't want to say not like himself because I don't know him as a person, but the entertainer that we see on SportsCenter in all these years, that's not been the guy here this week. Although this time, he looked to be in tremendous shape.
He's in tremendous shape. I felt confidence, if you're asking me what I felt in the interview. But you have to ask yourself, ahead of the game, playing armchair quarterback ahead of the game, is he respecting the sport too much? Would he have a bigger edge, and only he knows as an athlete, would he come in there with a bigger edge and more confidence if he did the Ocho Cinco stuff, or if he comes in there humble, happy to be here, respecting the game, thank you for having me? You know, we're going to find out, right? I mean, it's 4 rounds to tell us if he's a real fighter or not. Things can go really bad. There's ways to win without winning. But, you know, what was it like to you to fire yourself up? I feel like you got to be a con man as a fighter, right? You got to talk yourself into
I think Chad Ochocinco should have sold this more. Him being subdued and kind of this laid-back guy, I know he's in uncharted territories. I hate the matchup from I don't know whose management team is. For a guy for his first fight to fight a guy who decided to do bare knuckle, obviously has a few screw loose. It's a tough fight for him, man.
Hey, Paige Van Zant's doing bare knuckle, all right? She's good.
You know, I'll refrain from comment.
Thank you.
He's fighting Ostovich, I will buy that.
Yeah.
Speaking of buying,
for
that's
other
a good
reasons.
transitional point.
See
right?
the transition there?
let me just sort of remind the audience here. You can go and buy the pay-per-view now. It is a relaxed price point. It is usually for Floyd. I think he said the last time he fought it was $100. This time it's half that, $50, $49.99. You can see the URL down there, sho.com/pay-per-view. You can go ahead and buy now. It'll be a Sunday night attraction. 8 p.m. in the East is when things kick off, and they kick off on the pay-per-view with Chad Ochocinco taking on
Brian Maxwell.
I'm nervous for him.
What are you going to be doing all?
I'm Mario Lopez. I'm a thick Mario Lopez.
Give me an example of what that means.
It means high school wrestler.
I'm going to turn the chair backwards. Yeah. No, I'll be in a lot of makeup. I'll be in a suit, and then I'll be going around interviewing the celebrities. Then I'll be in the locker room with Logan Paul interviewing him before he walks out.
No Floyd pre-fight interview?
No Floyd. Deuces Mero's doing Floyd.
Oh, okay. All right. That sounds fine.
Now, you hang with a high circle. You got there. You earned it. Is there anybody that you could be Star Trek? What if they say,
yeah.
hey,
Ooh, Tom Brady for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The
GOAT.
Yeah?
The GOAT. I'd be a little nervous.
But no,
I'd be cool, though.
He seems friendly. You know?
Yeah, he does.
Like the guy who was on the boat who was tossing the Lombardi.
Yeah, I want that. Tom
Yeah.
Brady. He's all hammered.
He's like 5 White Claws deep. That's the one you want right there.
Yeah,
right?
then what if he's like, why don't you and I fight, Shaw? I'm like, all right, showtime. And
Yeah,
then
see, you could be talked into it then, couldn't you?
I'm into it,
yeah,
dog.
you versus Tom Brady?
Yeah, that's a good one. Tom Brady for sure if he's there.
Okay, well, we can't wait to see tomorrow night. It's going to be fun. Wish you the best of luck. Please don't wear an outrageous suit, but not like super outrageous.
Go for it.
The pants are a little outrageous.
Antonio Montana. Come on, it's Miami.
Are they unbelievably tight?
They're pretty tight. They're cropped up. You see some ankles. They got Gucci prints
They're
all
his
over
hotel pants, no ballroom. All right,
All right. Well, with that, okay. On that note, we'll probably get fired. One more reminder. Tomorrow night, of course, the fights are not tonight. They will be tomorrow. They'll be here in Miami, Florida. If you would like to buy the pay-per-view one more time, you can see the URL there below on the screen, shoshow.com/pay-per-view. It's 1/2 of the cost of what it normally is to see Floyd Mayweather fight. Of course, it should be. This is a different kind of a thing, but it's a nice, relaxed price point for all the folks out there. Okay? All right. Well, we've really enjoyed you guys tuning in. This has been one hell of a week.
We got Trick Daddy. We had Trick Daddy.
We had Trick Daddy.
He didn't play Trick Love the Kids, though.
He didn't, but I felt like, you got to grade him on a curve. It's fine. I got what I was looking for out of Trick Daddy.
Don't talk about his figure, talking about curves.
I said no words about that whatsoever.
He's a legend, please.
Trick Daddy's 60.
All right.
The black was as slimming as it could have been. The shirt,
I'm already in trouble with enough famous people this week. Okay,
right.
I don't need.
We got to get out of here. For Brendan Schaub, that's Brian Campbell. I'm Luke Thomas. We thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at the fights.
Somebody's taking an L, Luke, okay? Somebody's going to come away with big-time bragging rights. We've never seen an event like this before.
Is it going to be mayhem? Is it going to be mystery?
All the jokes and got your head aside. You got to box this man, Floyd Mayweather.
Yes, sir.
Do you brawl him? Do you attack him? How do you make up that difference?
Fight my heart out.
Floyd is a career welterweight, but he's fighting a guy who could be 40 to 50 pounds heavier, who's 6 inches taller. The reach is 4 inches longer. The age is 18 years younger.
I don't worry about size, height, arm length, weight. Floyd Mayweather, I'm the best. This is what I do.
I love this. This is me in my element. Like, this is what I came out to Hollywood to do when I started making videos on YouTube.
I'm fighting a YouTuber who thinks he's a real fighter.
It doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter who your opponent is. If they throw a hard enough punch and if it lands, it counts.
We're going to beat Floyd in his own game.
Anything can happen.
So we'll just see.
Bragging Rights, Sunday, June 6th, live on pay-per-view.
100%. Even if you go back to Jake Paul and Ben Askren, as a former UFC fighter, as much as I like the Paul brothers and Jake, I wanted Ben to win. And I talked to Ben like, you're representing MMA, you're representing UFC. Do you feel that pressure? He's like, yeah, I feel like even my haters are like, man, I hope you beat Jake Paul. Like, the MMA community rally around their guy as much, even if they hate him. And when he was competing in UFC, and he talked all that trash, and he was the heel most of the fights, and obviously people are happy to see the Masvidal knockout. The community still rallied around him because he was our guy.
Right.
Floyd is boxing's guy, man. He's the face of boxing. I think it's crazy that you don't, not that I'm not saying you guys, but for society to not think the pressure's on Floyd here.
I think, yeah.
To represent boxing as a whole.
Floyd has worked so hard to be undefeated, but so has Father Time. And someday it's going to catch him. I'm not trying to oversell this for Sunday night, but someday
I'm not either, but like when I had Jake Paul on Food Truck Diaries, he goes, as fighters, sometimes you have a bad night. So we got to hope Floyd has a bad night, Logan has a real good night, and Floyd's missed a step. I went, whoa, Bubba. you got to hope Floyd's missed 10 steps.
Right.
One step's
Gotta hope
not
he
enough.
drives to the wrong arena.
You
Sunday.
gotta hope he shows up with binoculars.
Well, let's continue this conversation, but joining us now on stage is another luminary from the Bellator family. He will be fighting. We don't know the date just yet, but we know the opponent and we know the stakes. It will be for the Bellator featherweight title, the winner of the Grand Prix. This gentleman is one half of the finals.
too,
Yeah,
okay?
$1 million smackers. It's AJ McKee. AJ, welcome. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
And I want to put this out there. I picked him to win it from the jump. I want
you?
that on
He did,
record.
he did.
Yeah, from the jump.
All right, fair enough.
Stump the shop over here.
What's
The
up,
Swami's on
Doug? Remember
fire.
that guy?
AJ, you may be the best dressed man in the building right now.
You look
I just
good,
wanna say
man.
that.
Thank
Looking
you,
good.
man. I learned from you guys.
Let me see the watch. Yeah, that's a nice watch.
Wait for the next one. Shout out the Newport Watch Club, man.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
All right.
AJ, I want to start there with the Pitbull fight because there's so, I mean, it's so big that I've heard longtime guys in the industry say this might be the biggest fight in Bellator history. If you identify with that, sell me on why.
Why? I mean, just look at Pitbull's accolades alone. 145, 155-pound champ. Just the name Pitbull alone, it's been ringing in Bellator for so long. He's been the champ since I first signed to Bellator, so 17 fights he's held that world title. Once again, you got the Floyd Mayweather of MMA standing in front of him. I've called his name since I signed, so I'm looking forward to going in there and just putting my first mark on my legacy and continuing my father's.
Papa, he called himself the Floyd Mayweather of MMA. That's big ones, they call that where I come
Big
from.
ones, big huevos.
Yeah.
Big huevos. Do you see any holes in Pitbull's game? It's tough, right? He's a pretty dominant fighter.
He's a dominant fighter, but styles make fights, and you know that.
Yeah.
For me, my style is so superior to him. The reach, he has to get past the reach. On top of, once he gets past the reach, he has to deal with the elbows, the knees. If he takes me down, I'm comfortable off my back. So for me, I just got to go out there and fight a smart fight, you know what I mean? Don't leave any loopholes and just expose him of his.
Yep. AJ, what do you make of this? It's almost like Floyd Mayweather is fighting a fan, you know?
It is. It's entertainment, you know what I mean? Floyd said it himself. He said, I don't fight anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is a great opportunity. It's a great marketing exposure. It's surreal to me, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, man, that's what I need. I wanted to fight Floyd. I want to fight Floyd. Like, that's the exposure I need. I need to get that paycheck, you know what I mean? That just to solicit yourself as that echelon of the elite fighters. So it's going to be a big move, but I think he ruffled Floyd's feathers the wrong way this fight, taking his hat.
How long do you think it goes?
I'll tell you what is true, though.
As long as Floyd wants, right?
Exactly. As long as Floyd, I think he's going to probably soften his body up. He might just hurt him to the body and really punish him.
Agree 100%.
Because the height's going to be
an issue, yeah.
If Logan Paul asked you for one piece of advice in this fight, what would you give him?
Great question.
Don't take the fight?
pretty much. Just get after him. You know what I mean? Go in there like a shark smelling blood.
Right, you're not going to beat Floyd over the long haul. 100 miles an hour, just go.
He's got to get him out of there in the first 2 rounds.
Right.
If he doesn't, it's a wrap.
All right, we're short on time. Do you know when your finals for the Bellator Featherweight Grand Prix is going to be yet?
Where it's going to be?
When?
When? No. Hopefully it'll be in LA. I get to fight back home and bring that world title and my $1 million check.
So there's a chance it won't be at Mohegan. They could move it around.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
Correct.
Well, you know what? We can't wait to see it. We appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy the craziness tomorrow.